Hi, my name is John, and today I'm going to be leading you guys through the DNA extraction kit. Um, First, I'm just going to walk you through all the things that you need for this kit. So to start off, you need one of these small beakers, about 100 milliliters. Then each student will need two of the 200 meter beakers. You're going to need dish soap, salt, a stirring stick, a strainer. You're going to need your measuring sticks, specifically the 1 teaspoon and the 1/4 teaspoon. You need isopropyl alcohol, and this experiment works best if this is chilled, but it doesn't have to be chilled. You need some tweezers, a Ziploc bag, and then some fruit. For the fruit, it doesn't really matter which fruit you choose. I found that strawberries work best, but I've done this experiment with strawberries, bananas, and blueberries. So any really fruit works best. But I prefer strawberries just because when you break them up, they go through the strainer easier. And we'll get to why that is important later. So the first step in this experiment is going to be to make the extraction mixture. And you do this by adding 80 milliliters of water into one of the big beakers. Then you need 2 teaspoons of dish soap. And then finally, you need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Add this in. A little bit too much there. These measurements don't need to be exact by any means, but obviously the closer you can get them, the better. And then you just need to stir this until all the salt dissolves. So now that I've stirred my extraction fluid for about a minute and I've made sure that all the salt is dissolved, I can go ahead and start mixing it together with the strawberry. If you're using a fruit like a strawberry, just make sure that you rip all the leaves off so we just have the strawberry. You can go ahead and put that in the Ziploc baggie and then pour in the extraction fluid. When you're closing the bag, make sure to try and get all the air out as much as you can anyway. That makes smushing it all together a little bit easier. So like I said, then the next step is to go ahead and break apart your strawberry. And you want to keep mushing it together in that extraction fluid until there's no big chunks left. This normally takes a while, so I'll go ahead and skip forward a little. So once you're done smashing up your fruit, your solution should look something like this. I don't know if you can see it. My mixture turned kind of purple. That's kind of to be expected. There's really no big chunks of strawberry in here because the more you mash up your fruit, the more DNA you're going to be able to get out of it in the end. So we want to make sure that fruit is mashed up as much as possible. Just kind of work in the bag like this for a while. So now, once your fruit is all mashed up, you want to take your clean, large beaker and set it out. This is where you could have a friend help you. I don't have anyone here to help me right now. So I'm just going to set up my strainer like that, and then you're going to pour your mixture into your large beaker through the strainer. And you want to be careful. You don't want to do too much at a time because then the mixture might overflow. Let that drain out. Keep pouring, and you'll see some chunks of strawberry or fruit that you didn't get mashed up all the way in the strainer, and that's okay. Let's get the rest of this poured in there. Make sure to get all that liquid in there that we can. All right, that looks good. So then we're done with our bag. And now you still have a little bit of fruit and some juice in your strainer. And we want to make sure to get all of that into the bottom of the beaker that we can. So then you can use your thumb, you can use one of the measuring sticks, or you can use a spoon if you have a spoon. Just kind of gently press down into the strainer. Try and get a little bit more of that liquid into the bottom. It's more DNA going down there. Once there's not much liquid coming out, you go ahead and stop, then put that off to the side. So now that we have our mixture all ready to go, we're going to go ahead and add some isopropyl alcohol, and this is what is going to extract the DNA out of this mixture. So you're going to go ahead and measure out about 60 milliliters. That's good. Again, it doesn't have to be exact, but around 60 milliliters is where you want to go. And then you're going to be careful to pour this in, but make sure when you pour it in, you hit the side of this beaker first so it doesn't disrupt the fluid. Because the more disrupted this fluid is now, the more the DNA is going to get jumbled apart, and then you won't be able to pull out a nice long string of it. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this in. Careful to kind of run it down on the side. You don't have to pour too much in at a time. There we go. And now we're going to sit here for a little bit, and we're going to let the isopropyl alcohol work and separate the DNA from the rest of the mixture. So just wanted to kind of do a close-up shot here. You can see all the little bubbles floating from down here to the top. This white fluid on top is the alcohol, and that's separated from the rest of the mixture. You can see how it's taking all this white stuff up to the top, and that's your DNA. So then if you take your pliers here and pull it out, that's your DNA. So now that I've let the isopropyl alcohol continue to extract the DNA from the mixture, you can go ahead and keep pulling more DNA out. The goal is to get as much of it should be sticking together, so you can pull all that out. Most of the DNA should rise to the top of the surface, but there might be some that didn't quite rise to the surface, and you can kind of pull that out, but they won't be as big as chunks as the stuff on top. So now that you have your DNA extracted, you can go ahead and clean out all your equipment and retry the experiment and maybe use a different type of fruit and see if there's any difference in the DNA from the DNA of a strawberry to the DNA of a banana. Thanks for watching.